At any given moment, if you look up into the night sky, just past the edge of twilight, just beyond the familiar constellations, you might catch a glimpse of something moving silently across the stars. It's not a plane, not a comet, not a satellite blinking with automation. It's something alive, a cathedral of metal and motion, a crucible of curiosity and collaboration, a place where the line between science fiction and science fact has dissolved into orbit. This is the International Space Station, a machine built by the hands of many nations, a vessel shaped by dreamers, engineers, explorers, and the endless human instinct to ask, what if? It orbits 400 kilometers above our heads. It travels 28,000 kilometers per hour. It circles the Earth every 90 minutes. And on board, there are questions floating about life, about the universe, about us. This is where humanity conducts its boldest experiments, in gravity's absence, in silence, in light. The ISS is not just one structure. It is a living mosaic. 15 nations contributed to its creation, dozens of modules, hundreds of systems, a vast, interconnected network of laboratories, sleeping quarters, robotic arms, solar wings, and data relays. It was built in pieces, launched over years, linked in orbit, locked together in the most complex construction project humanity has ever attempted in space. It is an ecosystem in microgravity, a miniature Earth where every breath is filtered, every drop of water recycled, every bolt accounted for. And yet, despite all its mechanics, the station is not cold. It hums with purpose. Every day, astronauts conduct hundreds of scientific experiments in physics, chemistry, biology, medicine, robotics, climate, and technology. Not just for exploration's sake, but for all of us still earthbound. This is the scientific lighthouse of our time, and the questions it explores aren't distant. They're deeply human. In space, the ordinary becomes extraordinary. A drop of water becomes a floating orb. A spark of fire becomes a glowing sphere. A tear does not fall, it clings. This absence of gravity, or more precisely, the presence of microgravity, changes everything. On Earth, gravity tugs at everything. It shapes how chemicals mix, how cells grow, how flames rise, how metals cool. But in space, all those forces vanish. And without them, scientists can isolate the true behavior of matter, raw, untouched, unmasked. One of the most promising fields in this alien lab is protein crystal growth. In space, proteins form more symmetrically, with fewer imperfections. This allows researchers to better understand diseases at the molecular level and even design new drugs. Cancer therapies, antiviral medications, enzyme treatments, all shaped by crystals grown not in a lab in Houston or Kyoto or Berlin, but in orbit. We're not just studying the body, we're reimagining how to heal it. When the human body leaves gravity behind, it begins to whisper secrets it never could before. Bones begin to dissolve, muscles atrophy, the spine elongates, blood rises into the skull, the eyes flatten, the heart beats differently, the skin reacts. For decades, this was seen as a challenge, a threat to long-duration spaceflight. But aboard the ISS, it became something else, an opportunity. Astronauts became test pilots for the human organism. They're scanned, sampled, and studied before, during, and after missions. Their data flows back to Earth in real time. Every heartbeat, every breath, every biological anomaly becomes a lesson. We now understand aging in ways we never could. In space, the body ages faster and heals slower. Studying these changes has unlocked new approaches to osteoporosis, to cardiovascular disease, to immune dysfunction to neurodegeneration. And the discoveries are mutual. What we learn from space medicine feeds back into Earth medicine. Because the body, like the mind, is adaptable. It resists, it bends, it evolves. And in space, it tells us its most honest story. One state, one sword. Scott Kelly, astronaut. Mark Kelly, senator and former astronaut himself. Identical twins, born of the same genetic blueprint. But in 2015, they became part of a singular experiment to observe how space transforms the body on a cellular level. Scott spent 340 days on the islands Mark remained on Earth. When Scott returned, their genes, once mirrors, had diverged. Not permanently, not radically, but measurably. Telomeres, the caps on chromosomes, lengthened in space, a phenomenon we still don't fully understand. Immune systems shifted, gut microbiomes evolved. Even the expression of thousands of genes changed. It was as if space had rewritten the rules of their shared biology. The Kelly twins weren't just part of an experiment. They were the experiment. And in their journey, we caught a glimpse of a deeper truth. That life in space is not just an engineering problem. It is an evolutionary step. From the ISS, the Earth looks small, vulnerable, whole. You don't see countries. You see currents. You don't see war zones. You see weather systems. From orbit, Earth is not a map. It is a living organism. Astronauts watch cyclones spiral, rivers shift, forests retreat, cities glow like constellations. And with every orbit, they gather data with hyperspectral sensors, thermal cameras, and infrared scopes. Climate scientists use ISS data to track glacier melt, greenhouse gases, algal blooms, desertification. The station is not separate from Earth. It is part of its nervous system, an eye in the sky that helps us monitor the pulse of a planet in flux. And sometimes, it's faster than any satellite. Astronauts have spotted wildfires before fire departments, tracked hurricanes in real time, called in rescue data for floods, landslides, and oil spills. From space, you don't just see the Earth. You see its story unfolding. The most profound experiment aboard the ISS might be a leaf. In the harsh sterility of space, astronauts have grown plants, not as decoration, but as destiny. Lettuce, zinnias, mustard greens, radishes, all grown in controlled chambers lit by artificial suns. Here, there's no gravity to pull water down into roots, no insects to pollinate, no breeze, no soil, yet life grows. And what we're learning is how to build self-sustaining ecosystems, the key to living beyond Earth. One day, we will need to plant gardens on the moon, on Mars, on ships that drift between stars. These humble experiments are our first seed packets to the universe. And more than nutrition, they provide a psychological oasis, a reminder of Earth, of color, of scent, of quiet. In space, a leaf is not just a plant. It's a symbol of resilience. On the outside of the station, invisible instruments gather invisible data from invisible particles. The alpha magnetic spectrometer, bolted to the ISS truss, has been scanning the universe for over a decade, searching for dark matter, antimatter, and the origins of the cosmos. Inside, the Cold Atom Lab creates an environment colder than deep space, allowing atoms to slow into a single quantum state. There, researchers glimpse physics at the edge of comprehension, wave-particle duality, quantum entanglement, and fundamental interactions between forces. This is not just science. This is philosophy made real. On Earth, we study the universe by looking out. On the ISS, we study it by creating it, molecule by molecule, particle by particle. The ISS is not just a scientific marvel. It is a diplomatic miracle. Built through collaboration between NASA, Roscosmos, ESA, JAXA, and CSA, it proves that when the mission is bigger than politics, cooperation is not just possible, it's essential. In an era of division, the ISS remains a place where astronauts from different countries live, eat, laugh, cry, and work together. Inside, there are no borders, only tasks, only goals, only trust. Perhaps one of its greatest experiments is not scientific at all. It is social. Can we live together in the unknown? Can we build something bigger than ourselves? The answer, 400 kilometers above us, is yes. The ISS is aging. Its components creak. Its panels weather. Its orbit will one day decay. But its story will not end. Private companies are planning new stations. Nations are building lunar outposts. Mars is no longer a distant hope, it's a destination in planning.